The Bring a Trailer Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bring a Trailer Podcast. Alex Porter here around the mics once again with Randy and Beck. What's up, gents?
Psyched to be here. Psyched to be back. You guys have been podcasting. I've been sitting around jealous that I wasn't on the American Graffiti podcast. I'm just going to listen to that podcast over and over again as I watch the movie from now on. You guys did a good job.
Did you like it?
It was awesome. Yeah, I heard from a few others that listened to it as well. Anyway, I dug hearing that, but I did want to be in the room and be like, oh, what about my scenes? Oh, anyway.
Well,
the movie ones are
do
awesome.
it right now. What did we miss?
No. I mean, who knows? I mean, we can talk about another podcast about that movie, but Beck, you didn't know that was Suzanne Summers in the 56 Bird. I mean, man, that's like, you guys are all talking about all these other scenes. I'm like, that's the scene that matters. Anyway, no, there were lots of them.
Did you know there was supposed to be like a dream sequence at the start with her and that car? That was supposed to be how the movie was supposed to start. And like the budget and the timing, they just couldn't film it. But it was like heaven, like White T-Bird, Suzanne Summers, and heaven.
That is what that scene was. Modesto heaven. So is this heaven? No, this is Modesto.
Shout out to a couple of our listeners. We got some great feedback and a lot of people reminiscing about cruising Sacramento, cruising malls,
So
just
good.
Cruising culture in general.
So I love Zach talking about how people are just eating popsicles because they're roasting alive with no air conditioning in the Central Valley. Anyway, I had many smiles on that. You guys did a killer job. But yeah, probably a lot of people out there were jealous they couldn't be riffing with you as I was. So anyway, that was cool.
Well, we were jealous because you were in the United Kingdom doing some cool car stuff. I saw some of that on social media. Did you catch some of that, Beck? Some of the cool things Randy was up to?
I did. Mostly as part of the new landing page on the site, the bringatrailer.com/UK. That's where my first thing was, but a bunch of social was posted as well.
You were potting. You were
Nice, dude. Nice plug you just did there for the page.
He's a
Man,
pro.
You are dialed. You've got the talking points. I was in the UK. I was not in Modesto. I was in some alternate universe from Modesto, but no, we were over there. Obviously, we have an awesome new local partner, Sports Purpose at Bicester Motion, which are sort of landmark places in the UK car scene. And yeah, I was on the Intercooler podcast. I don't know if you guys know Intercooler. Intercooler is very cool, kind of online magazine, but they have a cool podcast as well. And it leans, British, some of the personalities that are on it, but they talk a lot of F1. They talk a lot of product releases. They talk a lot of, what are manufacturers doing. I've always loved British car magazines when I was a kid, right? Like Evo and
Car was the one I loved. Yeah.
And the classic ones as well, classic and sports car, and now Octane and stuff like that. Anyway, there's just cool stuff going on over there, cool energy around the car scene, and us doing more over there now, sort of catering more towards UK customers. I was over there to sort of set the basics for that, but now we're going to lean into that. And the month of April is going to be really fun. And we're going to announce some events that we're going to be involved with. And we are going to have a bunch of cars start to come live on the site that we're cultivating right now. So anyway, there's vibrancy there, which is fun. And I just love traveling over there and being with people over there and getting to see the different cars and the different ways they go about it. So I love that stuff.
Best car you saw in the wild while in the UK?
In the wild, on the roads, there's occasionally interesting stuff. I mean, it's like winter in the UK. It's not exactly the loveliest of weather moments, but we were doing a lot of things at Sports Purpose, the local partner, which is at sort of a ground zero of a bunch of different automotive things going on. So there are cool cars going around over there. Ton of cool Rover product. They are Porsche heavy there. They're sort of a Porsche specialist. So, a Maritime Blue 964 RS is never a bad thing to trip across in the flesh. They've got a 356 race car.
Was it right-hand drive?
My street car.
Or left-hand drive?
No, it's actually a left-hand drive.
Did they make right-hand drive RSs?
I believe they did.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely they did. So yeah, anyhow, you guys are Porsche nuts. You guys probably would have been freaking out, but I'm always looking for like super weirdo stuff that we didn't get in the US.
You're venturing over to Renault dealerships.
So we went to a Renault dealer. Did I tell you about this?
I heard of this.
Yeah, so that's not weird. It's like a super mainstreamy car there, but it would be exotic here, like the new Renault 5. I went and drove the new Renault 5.
Did you really?
At a dealer. And they make an Alpine version of it, which I actually didn't like better. I like the base 5. It's an EV. I mean, it's like econo box. Like people there like think it's cute and it's interesting, but it's
good looking.
here it would be like the coolest thing around, like when the Mini was launched or something, you know?
It has Mini vibes a little bit.
Yes, because it's a throwback to a early design.
Yeah, what's the size? Is it pretty small?
No, dude, you step up to it and you're like, dude, this thing's kind of big.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's like
it's got to fit batteries and stuff.
An SUV or is this a car or what is it? But no, everything modern's so big now. But
is that the Altium version with the like scoops and stuff on it?
Yeah, okay. All the stuff.
Yeah, okay.
And we test drove that too, and the salesman at the dealer was pretty cool. He's like, hammer it. He's like, go, like hit it, you know. And I was like, okay, and I did, and I was kind of not as stoked on that one, but I thought the base one was cool. So anyway, we'll see what happens. But yeah, we're playing with some cars over there, and again, I love anything you can't get in the U.S. It's like instantly exotic. So that same dealer had a bunch of A110 like cool editions and different sorts of stuff, all right-hand drive, obviously interesting and fun to look at and drive.
I heard some positive feedback on the pod and listened to a little bit of myself, some early BAT tales. You told some good stories on that.
Yeah, they wanted like history
of
BAT, like early days. I thought we were going to talk a little bit more about like the biz and what are we doing and what's our partnership and stuff. But they were like, tell me about 2007, you know, where did it come from and the name and the early days and, you know, all the interesting historical stuff, because I don't think that's ever really been told over there.
I know.
Much, you know,
I found myself jealous. I'm like, I wish that was our pod. Did you listen to any of it, Beck? It's good. It's really good Randy stories that I'm like, man, we should have that on our pod.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, we can relive that, or everybody definitely ought to go listen to the Intercooler one. But no, we can spice it up and ask about some of that stuff.
I feel like that was something you were doing a lot, maybe 3, 4, or 5 years ago. Like a lot of the interviews were about like, what was the origin story? Why did you choose this early on? When did auctions turn on? All that kind of stuff. But that's kind of faded away. Like it's much more sort of modern. Everyone wants like sort of modern market critiques, not so much about the origin.
Totally. How do you feel about the Porsche market, Randy?
Right.
Yeah.
And GT3s.
Totally. Oh, gosh. Yes, all of those. But the early days stories is really different than how most of the other auctions started, honestly, right? So it was we kind of had to start it out of thin air. So it is an interesting and different story. Those guys seemed like they were pretty genuinely into it, asking about it.
Do you ever get tired of telling them? I think about that sometimes. Like you have to go talk to another journo and explain again, like the origins. Does it ever get
No,
tiring?
I like it because they always ask it in a little different way. And I end up telling like different aspects, like what you're talking about, right? Like for some reason, I'll focus on some weird story that happened early on or just some different audience that it's catered to. So I don't particularly get tired of it. I still like it. I guess I could get tired of it if
I think it's okay to tell the truth. It's great that you don't.
Yeah.
Maybe someday you will.
No, but I probably will. Or there's probably been moments where I'm like, okay, here we go again. But in general, it's obviously it's kind of my personal story intertwined with the BAT story. So that makes it kind of easy to tell because people are just like, what's your deal, Beck? You know, what's your deal, Alex? You got to have a story, you know, you got to have something to say. My grandpa always used to ask me that. What's your story, Randy? Right. Oh. And I'd be like, well, I better come up with something to say. I can't just like say nothing, you know? So I guess I got good at telling that story.
I definitely tell the origin story multiple times. I mean, with white glove calls, it comes up all the time. People are curious where we came from. Less so in the pro seller community, right? They're very much aware of us, or nor do they really care, I think, really where we came from.
How am I going to get
what reserve will you
for my CTSV?
Right.
Like automatic.
They cut to the chase.
Yeah, totally.
But with private party, the story is one of the reasons that I think they even choose to use BAT. And I think they're sometimes shocked to even learn how long we've been around for.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
We've been around a little bit. Couple blocks.
I've been thinking
we're a year away from 20.
Less than a year. That's I was thinking.
Man. Gen 7.
Thank God.
Gen 7.
But maybe that's what we should grill Randy as part of a 20-year retrospective.
There you go.
Yeah.
We should, some things are going to happen. We're going to do some things for that milestone. That's a mega milestone.
I'm really excited about it. I have a kind of a theme for today, but do you have any other automotive news, Beck? Anything new? Do you drive any of your old cars anymore? It's just E-Class all day long?
Just E-Class wagons.
Benz wagon. We don't have to call it an E-Class. We can call it a Mercedes.
Hashtag E-Class lifestyle.
The Benz wagon just crossing the city, going to schools and baseball games. That's all it really does right now. No, the 911's been sort of parked. It's having like a weird starting issue right now. So from basically sitting, so it needs to go off and get
which car?
The 911.
911 starting.
Yeah.
Come on.
I know. I think it's a warm-up regulator issue, but we'll see.
Okay.
Any interesting news from you, Randy?
Interesting news.
Car
Those
news.
travels were fun.
Yeah.
Watching American Graffiti every night for 7 nights in a row will be
Yes.
fun. Car news.
What do you want to do next? What movie?
Dude,
People love the...
No. Stop. Hold the phone. Did I tell you? I started the Chrysler.
I saw you were working on it. I saw engine bay.
The Chrysler's together. It needs power steering fluid. It needs a couple little details before I back it out. But it ran.
What was the last calendar year that it ran?
Well, yeah. No joke. No joke. Which is kind of amazing that it cranked over and ran like pretty easily. I bet it's 2 years for sure.
Didn't run in calendar year 25 at all.
No, never.
Maybe not 24.
It sat in the same spot in the corner.
Yeah, it's been there for a long time, dude. And my daughter is like, Dad, when are we?
We can only move cars in and out of the office that will fit through the front door.
I know because that it's like blocking the
it's a blockage,
blocking the fire escape. No, man. I mean, I've been charging the battery for a while, but I got all those pieces back in, and then thankfully it cranked forever because the dual quads that it had were bone dry.
Needs hella priming.
But you don't want it to fire right away because I was like, the oil's been in the pan for 2 years, right? So it just cranked, and the starter's awesome in that thing. It's like out of a battleship. So it'll just turn the Hemi over forever. And it got oil pressure way before it fired. And then I looked around and it had filled up the paper element glass bowl fuel. You know those things that are in there. There's one on each carb. And they filled up with gas. And I was like, oh, man, this may even happen. And then I just kept cranking it and pump. And it hit. It fired.
Dude.
Yeah. So we can go back down after this. I mean, it'll start easily now because it did it a couple days ago. But anyway, I'm close. But I wasn't going to back it out because driving that car with no power steering is difficult, to say the least. So anyway, that car is going to be on the road soon in some shape or form. And then, the other cars, no, just kind of keeping things rolling. Other than that was the big news.
Randy went on a little drive in the LoCort. Did you know that? LoCort got out on the road.
We didn't talk about that on the pod.
That was something.
Went on a drive after the...
Yeah, there was a little Marin Headlands / West Marin coastal rip around on a weekday in the LoCort with you, dude.
Yes, we got a preview of the Swig collection. It was very exciting.
Yeah, there were some Swig vehicles on the road. That was great. But no, drove the Cortina, which hasn't gotten a lot of action over the winter. So yeah, drove that thing around. That thing's awesome.
Awesome. The topic I had in mind for today comes kind of via our social media team. Met with those guys earlier this week, and they've been posting some old questions of the week, of which we have many hundreds now on the website with all the associated comments, often 100+ comments on those. So there's a lot of activity. They've been kind of digging up some of the old ones. I thought I'd hit you guys with a couple of them. We've done this occasionally on the pod, but they shared the full database of all of the questions of the week.
How many did you say?
He has 360 on here, but I thought he said it was like 480 in total.
Wow.
But there's 360 on here, and there's so many that are good ones. Like often when I hit you guys with these, I just like look at the last 20 or so that we did on the site. But going back is really, really fun. Do you read them fairly often when they come up? I usually read them pretty much every week.
Pretty much every time I see them, I click on them. It's always curious. Also, I want to see what the best results were from the previous week. So you've got to basically stay on top of it.
I think, Randy, you will appreciate the first place I want to go on one of these, because this is something we've talked about occasionally, but I have follow-up questions for both of you on this.
I just want to say, this is one of the most vibrant commenting areas of anything on the site. I'm always a little bit amazed.
It might be the most vibrant.
After hundreds of these every single week, the action on them is wild.
It's the social side that's devoid of like specific auctions, which I think people are craving.
Yeah.
To go back to your earlier point of like origin stories, we were doing the math. I mean, if it's question of the week and there's near 500 of these completed, that's pushing 9-10 years that these have been having. Randy, do you recall how the question of the week even got started? Was it just you thinking them up? Was it, where did they come from? It's pre-auction.
That's a good question. We just wanted to foster more conversation. People were veering off the roadway in listings sometimes about weird other topics or things that were pertinent or news items or whatever. And we wanted to give some people an outlet to that. You know, we've done different things over the years of how do you foster it? You want people to be stoked to be around on BAT and be talking and be sharing their great stories. But like, does that have to be on the Triumph TR3 of this week if you're talking about Cadillacs in the 70s or whatever, right? It can be a little disjointed. So this was one way that we could offer people a way to engage and just be stoked and share some of that communal enthusiasm. And yeah, we picked just weird stuff. And I don't know if it was originally like an every week thing, if it started
I think it was infrequent. If
sort
I
of
recall, it was
formulaic.
infrequently at the beginning.
Right. I don't know if we deserved the title of the week at the beginning, because I think we were just kind of throwing stuff out there and to see what would stick and what people were excited about. And obviously, I mean, we like brought on Sludjo and some other folks that were doing some writing, and that would get people excited. But this was like an interesting intermediate, and people may or may not know there were some other sort of columns on BET, right? The 10 question series.
Yeah, we still do those occasionally.
Yeah, I interviewed some users. I mean, we did some very
we've got Sludjo interviewing people now too, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
Does it predate auctions?
I don't know. Let's go look at the oldest one. I'm going to go to the category.
Because around the same time.
Yeah.
I mean,
we've been talking about reviving Why We Love Them, which was a series we did a lot of. We've done a lot of those. Drive at 25. What's cool?
Drive at 25 was cool.
See Where They Rust was my favorite.
When you were going to say that, that's actually my favorite thing, because anyway, doing the research for that was always my favorite, because you'd look at where
do you remember the green Dino that had disintegrated?
Yes. You see where a sister car rusts, and then you know where to look on when you're buying, which I don't know. I came up with that after a whiskey or something some night. But anyway, I love.
Did you write all the early questions of the week? Was that you?
No. I'm going to go back and see. I'm actually going back right now. I don't think it was called Question of the Week early days, because I don't think we were as solid on our cadence. But now we said, dude, some of these are crazy.
I know.
What's the weirdest place you've ever left a car?
Oh, dude. Wait, I have some really good ones. Hold on. Wait, before we dive.
Scrolling through.
I also, we'd be remiss. We should give credit to our colleagues, Ben and Fernie, who put this on now and do such a great job and, keep this flowing and coming out every week. It's
just the lead photo. It's actually really entertaining just to scroll back and just kind of try to take it in. You see these photos, you can not laugh. Yeah, they do a great job of making these engaging, don't they?
They do a great job. And they keep them coming out consistently. As we have all learned with the podcast, that's hard sometimes. This will go live sub 24 hours after we record it.
There you go. Man, I'm scrolling back. It like never ends.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Can I hit you guys with a couple?
Let's do it.
I had one that I thought would be a really good conversation starter, which is, and I think I know the answer for this for you, Beck, but I have no idea what Randy's is. What is the oldest car you've daily driven?
Ooh, daily.
Daily would be my 74, 2002.
That's what I thought.
I was driving that to go shoot A's games at the Coliseum and kept all my gear.
How many years did you daily drive that?
Bought it in 2011, sold it in 2017, but the first year it was on blocks in my dad's garage. So a good 5 years or so.
Amazing.
Sold it on the site. Researched on the site. That's why my personal account goes back to 2011, because I was doing all my research. Big subscriber of the under $20,000 category.
Hell yes, I remember that one.
I love that category.
That's still in there.
That's where
you can still click on that.
I marinate in that category often on our site or other sites.
I ended up not buying it off the site. It was pre-auctions at that point, but it wasn't listed on BAT. I think I found it on Craigslist in the Central Valley, and it needed a lot. And so it was on my dad's, on blocks for a year. But then, good 5 years.
How many times, if ever, did it strand you?
Oh man, never fully stranded. I always nursed it. I mean, we talked about it once, the time the brakes went out.
Right. You've had to limp it. You had to limp it.
Limp it there. I tried doing the ignition coil myself. I actually had the wrong coil. TIIs, specifically 74 TIIs, have their own coil. So that was a whole issue. It was like backfiring like crazy. And then I once had fuel shooting out of the fuel pump on the ground. I was leaving the Oakland Coliseum. I was in the East Bay, and I could see my gas gauge like slowly going down, and I could see a line of fluid out in my rearview mirror. And I was like, I wonder what that is. I just didn't really put those two together. So thankfully I took Kragen or O'Reilly's, whatever it was called then, pulled in.
I love the Kragen pull. Who's gonna associate with that? That's long gone. Right?
That's long gone. So they're all O'Reilly's now.
My local was Kragen.
I definitely did some Kragen. And it was always a Napa versus Kragen decision a lot of times.
Sure.
Yeah.
We never really had Napa in the city, I don't think. So I was a Kragen guy. So I found a Kragen, pulled into the parking lot there, had the, obviously the engine was off at that point, right? So the pump is off, looked underneath, nothing's leaking. Looks great. Like, oh, must not be anything important. And then started to drive away. Again, it was like leaking. So I went back, turned it on, left it on, could see it shooting, could smell it. But what was cool was walked into Kragen and I said, I need the 1/4 inch or whatever it was fuel line, and they just pulled it off a reel, cut it right off, unbolted off the clamps, replaced it, drove straight home.
Well
across the
done,
bridge.
Beck.
Awesome.
Roadside, or no, actually,
Field
man,
repairs.
that's a whole nother
There's a-
repairs
in
in the auto
Oh, yeah.
parts parking lot is a whole nother narrative.
Ideally under the sign that says no working on vehicles.
Oh, I didn't used to have that sign.
Oh, really?
That was like
Reagan's always had it.
encouraged. Like all the cars in front of the place would have their hoods up, and it was like a ragtag problem area.
Need a
Yeah,
paper,
yeah.
need a paper funnel?
Totally. They'd love to sell you some paper towels, right? Yeah, everything else you need. Anyway.
What about you, Randy? What is the oldest?
What'd you say? Oldest daily
Oldest
driver
daily.
is 66 fastback to high school, red, kind of Shelby clone with faded paint. Had a lot of crazy antics and a lot of crazy times in that car. Changed it quite a bit over the time that I owned it. But yeah, that was like daily to high school. That was junior year and half a senior year. And it was absolutely killer to get to drive that. It
Of
was like
course.
a wannabe. There was this one Shelby that was always at the front end of things, Ken Epsman's car, number 211. That's now in the Cobra Museum over in the East Bay. And it was red with no stripes, 66 race car. And so I got a red, no stripe, like 66 fastback with black plates on it, and like kind of Shelby'd it all up. And that was a daily driver. I also drove, I would call my Fintail, which was a 67, a daily driver. That was fast forward way later, 20 years later. But no, the Mustang was technically earlier, and later had a 65 Mustang, but never dailied that. So.
Do you know where that car is now?
The red car, I do not. License plate SFC 118.
Oh, what a license plate.
Yeah, black plate, S plate. I don't know. I know where my other fastback is in San Diego, but the red one we kind of neutered. Like we bought the white one and built it and stole all the great parts off the 66 and put it on. So we eventually sold a Shelby clone on 14-inch styled steel wheels, they're called, which are terrible. And it had a C4 automatic swap back into it. So it had like a roll bar and numbers on the doors and all this stuff, but it was an automatic drum brake, like wonky suspension car. So it kind of was like the leftover parts and got sold down the road. But no, if somebody found that car and brought it on back, that'd be crazy. I put a lot of miles on that car. What about you, dude? Ghia's your
Ghia's
oldest,
the oldest daily driver.
which was
for
what
me,
year?
71.
71. Yep.
But I drove that car.
You started very early with it.
Yeah, so I was thinking about that. I also sold that car on the site in 2017. That car was given to me by my Uncle John, RIP, when I was 13. I had to go get a California ID card in order to own a car, to have my name on it wasn't a pink slip, but that's when titles were rainbow. It was a rainbow title, which I still had and gave to the guy when the guy bought it on BAT.
Totally. I remember when you sold that.
Uh-huh.
Team.
Yeah, I worked here when I did that. Drove that car for a couple years when I turned 16 in 99 to high school. It got smashed in the slow high parking lot. And then I started driving the 912, which is a 76, which was my second oldest daily driver. And that car, I've driven 100,000 miles. And I probably drove the Ghia 70,000 miles, something like that. Like I drove
That's
them
awesome.
a lot. And they were my daily drivers, the two of them alternating all the way until I was 25 years old and bought my S2000.
I know you didn't own it at 0 miles, but did you get to see it roll the 100,000 mile on the odometer?
Unclear how many miles the car Ghia had on it. Seriously, I don't know. When we bought the 912, it has a 6-digit odometer, and it had 107,000 miles, and it's rolled once since. It's now got like 2 something. I don't remember. The Ghia's got a 5-digit. Like the gauges didn't really work, and the Ghia doesn't have a tack or anything. You know, the Ghia is just like any it's just a big speedometer in the middle, and then a clock that never worked, and a fuel gauge that bounced and never was that accurate.
Yep.
But still, like always had dual carbs on it, and it was always fired up. It barely ever stranded me. You know, Volkswagens were the number one produced car for a reason. You know, it just worked fine.
That's awesome.
Never warmed it up. I mean, I was a teenager mistreating it. It was a great car.
Did you ever bring that over to the old BAT office?
Oh, yeah.
Before you sold it? I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think you did.
I've got pictures of it with the Dino inside the shop, parked inside the shop, with the Integrale. I've got a picture of it and the Integrale next to each other.
I want to see that picture.
Yeah, I can pull it
I
up.
remember seeing it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I've got a picture of it in there with Zach's black 997.2 GT3, which is hilarious. Big disparity in rear engine horsepower there.
Yeah, those are different.
The other question I was going to ask you guys on the back of this might be tricky for you, Randy. Can you name all of your daily drivers in a row? I'm sure you can do it, Beck, starting with the Alpha. Was the 02 right after the Alpha?
No, there was an E30
okay.
in between. Then there was a Buick Century.
Whoa,
Yeah,
don't know
there
about
was.
that one.
Wagon or sedan?
Sedan.
Woo!
In there briefly, the E30 was not liking the Midwestern weather, and I
was going to ask if the Buick was Midwest.
It was Midwest. It was Midwest. So basically, I had the E30. My sister had inherited a Buick Century from our grandmother who had passed away, And she was like in San Francisco driving around this, big Buick Century she couldn't find parking for. And I was in the Midwest spinning out on off ramps in the winter in an E30 Cabrio. And so I would drive home every summer I could. And so one summer I traded with her. And so I took the Buick Century back to the Midwest, had that until I moved back to the city. So then it was E30, and then 2002, then 911, Golf, Xterra, and now the Mercedes. Oh, actually, the E46. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Of course.
And then now
That's
the
awesome.
Another sold on BAT.
My dad made like a book of all the different cars through the years that he's had, which is pretty crazy to look at. He's all over the place, just like I am. He's had a lot of different things.
Can you even name all of yours, Randy?
I mean, I'd probably miss some, but I mean, the pivotal ones are like the firsts, right? I mean, get your license, FJ40, 66 Mustang Fastback, 2002 TII salvage title. Go overseas, study. Parents sell that, come back, drive my mom's 5.0 Vert Auto for a couple months until I get an FJ60 purchased in Mountain View off a Auto Trader ad. Drove the FJ60 for a long time, and then I got a job at BMW and got company cars for like 10 years, which was an amazing deal, but those were technically my dailies.
What was the best company car?
E92 M3 blue comp package, black interior. I like snuck my way into that. I usually didn't get M cars, and I somehow sweet talked somebody at Oxnard Distribution Center, and I got that. And that was fantastic. I was actually a big fan of the E65 36 speed.
Oh,
People
interesting.
getting angry about that call. I had a black tan sport package, brand new. I mean, you'd always get these cars brand new, which was crazy because I was like 24 years old or whatever, and I just got this brand new car. So anyway, and I had a couple Alpina cars and weird stuff, but I didn't actually like those as much. E92, was it still called E92? 328 CI Coupe, 6-speed, white, black. The 28 actually came with better wheels than the 35. It was non-turbo, but it was good. Anyway, a lot of good cars. And then bailed out of BMW to work at BAT full time. What the heck was I driving? Weird old stuff. I think I had the Fintail. I think I drove the Fintail for a number of years right at the beginning of BAT.
When I started, you were daily driving the Land Rover with the green one, with some kind of, was it a Vortec?
I was driving that a fair amount. That would have counted as a daily. So anyway, it got real weird after BMW. I just started driving the old stuff around San Francisco.
Oh, and you drove the red pickup truck a lot, the V6 Toyota 5-seat pickup truck. Yeah.
I guess I turned through this stuff and have my schizophrenic tastes, but we kind of changed gears at that point, and my wife had a reliable, normal car, so I could just daily drive like weirdo stuff. So that was fun.
Do you want to talk about best place you ever left a car? Or do you want me to go by
that when I was scrolling by? Well, first off, I reached the end of the internet. I went all the way back. So the first one in this category is June 6, 2018. So I doubt it's 500. I bet it is the 400 sort of number we're at, but we'll be at 500 eventually. And they had 93 comments back then about what's your favorite Italian-American hybrid. And there's like Bizzarrinis and all sorts of
What is your favorite? Is it the Terra? What's your favorite?
The Terra?
Pantera.
Oh, the Pantera. I thought you were talking about X.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. That's what we call the Xterra.
The Pantera.
Yes.
I mean, I've been chosen on Mangustas lately.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
We've had a couple on the site recently that have done pretty well. I'm okay on Bizzarrinis. I don't need one though.
That's the first car I remember being conscious for somebody telling me that it will break, that it's a terrible car. It'll break your heart.
It'll break your
so that's like
your heart.
As deep as my automotive DNA goes is Mangusta equals nightmares, but they're so good looking.
Yeah, they're cool. So that would probably take the cake for me.
That was number one. That's the very first question.
That's the oldest one posted is June 6, 2018. They don't claim it's number one. And maybe, like I'm saying, I think it wasn't weekly before that. So it may go before that for a whole bunch of them. But what were the ones that jumped out to you, Alex?
Okay,
what's the stuff that we should be
I mean, I've got a bunch, and I'm trying to focus on ones that have already kind of been asked on Facebook so that we can do a little bit of synergy there.
Synergy.
Here's one that
you're seeking.
Here's the one. Totally. I love using that word too. Here's one of the ones that I've been thinking about a lot. What's the best car with an automatic transmission? I think, Randy, you might have more trouble answering this because you're cool with automatics. I do not love them. So this is like a little trickier for me.
Million awesome cars with automatics in them. But okay, why don't you guys go first?
The one that I've always thought of, and my boss at the shop I used to work at always used to say this, and I really like 928s with an automatic transmission.
That's troublesome.
I know. I knew that would be controversial, but they're like pretty big highway cruising type cars, and I think they're great with an automatic. They've got a V8, they got plenty of torque. They actually, I don't love the way the shifter feels in those cars with a manual transmission, so I love them with an automatic.
I think it comes back to just any car that you are going to be stuck in traffic. I can't really think of an automatic that I genuinely prefer. I think you guys probably can pull that out of your brains a little bit easier than I can. But I've been in Tahoe traffic, like stuck for hours trying to get up to the mountains. And I've been in my Xterra, that's an automatic. And I've been with buddies of mine who are in their, manual pickup trucks or their Subaru WRXs, whatever. And they're miserable. They're just hating their lives. Their foot hurts, their leg hurts. And it just makes a lot more sense when you're in that situation. Yeah, I guess that's just sort of categorically. That's why I would plan to do.
And yet you've daily driven a lot of manual transmissions, as you just
true.
outlined.
But I also I will find a route through the city that is longer if it just means I'm not in a train of cars.
Yeah,
all the time.
The clutch is really starting to squeal on my Civic. It's like it's got about 48,000 miles. I've never really had to replace a clutch in a car, but that's 48,000 city miles. The number of 1-2 shifts I've done in that car is like unimaginable,
Sure.
So many 1-2 shifts, so many hill starts.
My dad always tried to, not have to shift down into first and always sort of cruise through stop signs. And he got pulled over at Lake and 3rd Avenue.
There you go.
And I was a little kid. I was in my Boy Scout uniform, and my dad thought that would help getting them out of it.
He's like, you talk, Beck, you talk.
Right.
You talk to the officer.
But no, and that was my first time I ever heard of the Hollywooding it. The cop told my dad that he thought he was Hollywooding it.
Oh, I like Hollywood as a verb.
Yeah.
You definitely do not get in trouble for rolling stop signs anymore. It's like the number one bane of driving around the city is no one understands a 4-way intersection anymore.
Oh,
sorry, I could rant about that for a long time. Yeah, you've escaped from that,
SF
Randy.
life. Yep. Well, you're trying to say an automatic that's better than the corresponding manual. You said the best automatic car.
That makes a car better. Like the other one that came to mind, Beck, and I'm curious since you owned a W124, is like I have a very hard time imagining the 500E, which I drove a lot. Our family had a 500E. I have a very hard time imagining that as a manual transmission. I'm sure somebody's swapped a 500E, but the automatic very much suits the nature of that car.
And my W124 was a manual.
Yeah, and you didn't love it.
It was fine. It was both engaging and relaxing. It was interesting to have that experience. I actually bought that with the intent of could this sort of form factor work in my life before I buy an E500, just because the expense was so much more. And I ended up finding that as much as I loved how well it was built, it wasn't very practical for what I was trying to do, which was ferry children across the city.
But would you have preferred it with an automatic?
Probably, if I was going to be dealing it. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of cars that only come in automatic and yet are awesome, which I think there's a long, long list of those, right? Cyclone, Typhoon, those never came in a manual, right?
Totally.
Lagonda, that's a crazy car, and you can only get it in an automatic, and I'd love to rip around in one of those. There's a lot of stuff that, for better or worse, was auto only. So anyway, I'm not in the anti-automatic brigade. I'm cool with it.
Do you think that's because you're a truck guy and because you like muscle cars and stuff? And if you're in those kinds of car corners, automatics are...
Yeah, 2002 BMW automatic is sad trombone, right? You were always but it's an automatic, right? And for me, because I view the entirety of humanity through classified ads, if you'd ever see it, you're like, oh, awesome, there's one of these. Oh, it's an automatic. Yeah. Oh, check out, there's a CS Coupe. Oh, it's an automatic, right? Why is that such a deal? But I also love hunting deals. And so you get the automatic discount on a lot of cars. I've been looking at 6970 GT350s and 500s lately. And there's an automatic. And you're like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. But wait, it's 60% of the price.
Dude, I love that you're thinking about that.
You're like, dude, I could just rip through that shifter of the C4 or C6 or whatever's in there. And I could probably live with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How good of a burnout can you do with a neutral drop in your C6?
Or brake stands.
Totally, right? I mean, maybe it'll be okay. So anyway, I'm not anti-automatic overall, but even on some value buys like that, I'm kind of oh, and I mean, the hugest one is freaking Ferrari 400s, which I've been looking at for some sort of masochistic reasons. But I mean, the automatic cars are free, right? I mean, the manuals are 3 times the price, right? You're just wow, grab the auto and LS swap it. That's my current fantasy. So anyway, there's all sorts of problems you can get into.
For the GT500, though, I feel like what's nice about that automatic is that it's almost part of the ethos of the GT500 was that it was the easier car to drive almost. Like it was what you thought the GT350 should be, but the 350 was like the actual sports car, if you will. And that makes sense that you want that with the 4-speed as opposed to the auto.
Yep.
But 66 hertz, 4-speed versus not. It's no contest.
Yeah, 4-speed. You take it. You also probably pay the premium and take it.
That's what's so weird. I'm so glad you brought up the Mustang Shelby piece because I've been thinking about this question in general a lot more recently, somewhat in the context of those cars. I also like 69s. We've had a couple of really good 69 GT350s on the site, which are really interesting to me with the big fiberglass snout and all the NACA ducts and everything. But it's really been torturing me on hot rods because so many hot rods, which is very traditional, have a automatic behind the thing. And I'm always like, I need a manual, but I'm like, do I? And like, also it really limits what you can buy because you can see a build that's just perfect, except it has a, C4 automatic transmission or a turbo
350, 350/350. It's such a great line. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, that's a good debate.
My dad's Roadster had a Power Glide in it, and it was weird to drive, but you were like, this is how they did them a lot back in the
100%.
day. So he had, whatever it was.
2 gears. That's all you need. High and low.
And 2 gears clunking in and out of gear. It was awesome.
All right, let me hit you guys with just a few more. Here's one that I thought maybe could spark interesting debate. What is a modification that you loved but have soured on? And while you guys are chewing on it, I'll tell you the one that's, I've got another kind of semi-hot take. I do not, and this was really a moment of clarity for me when I was thinking about this, I do not like aftermarket wheels anymore on almost any car.
Oh, come on.
I can't think of
E30 M3 right now.
No,
you
stock.
got to. No,
little.
You have to.
No, I don't agree.
You have to +1 it.
No, I don't agree.
The 15s.
I used to be
sad.
That was all I wanted was like.
But the 16 OEMs that I had on mine, that's where it's.
They look good.
That's where it's
but
at.
I like little wheels and sidewall tires.
Oh boy.
And I like the styled 14-inch Mustang wheels also, which I had to bite my tongue when we were saying. I know.
Style steel wheels.
I know.
Oh no.
Not only am I upsetting listeners, but I'm upsetting my boss in the room.
You're fine. No, please do. I mean, taste, you can be all over wherever you want, but man, you got to be into aftermarket wheels. Come on.
I mean, I like individual aftermarket wheels still, but there's almost no car that I want where I wouldn't want some version of a stock wheel tire setup and ride height, all of it.
There's some nostalgia steering back towards, like, I went back to steel wheels on my FJ40, right? I had aluminum wheels on it for decades, and now I redid the truck, so I went back to white steels.
Yeah. I love mini lights, and almost every time I see them on a car, I'm like, nope, I'd rather have the factory wheel.
Not anymore. Well, we said that. You said that in particular about the 240Z at one time. But what about the username dropped on watts?
I know. I need to bury it. It needs to go out in the backyard.
Where are you, yay or nay?
Man, I feel like if you can continue the sort of historical accuracy of the look while improving the proportions. That's a weird balance to try and do. So, for example, steel wheels in the FJ, but the tires are, way oversized, right? And that is improving.
Yes, indeed, they are.
It's improving the proportions of it while still celebrating the history of the car, which I think is an important, needle to thread there. The same with the E30 M3, right? It's still the right basket weaves, but it's a little bit larger. People who don't know it, when they look at it, they think it looks better, but I don't know why.
But I'll go full BBS LMs on an M3 if it sits right and has the right setup.
Yeah, that's also -1, -2. These are things in my head now.
Judging me. You're judging me.
No, not necessarily. And you can do period mods that are period appropriate. You can do all kinds of stuff.
The other one that I would say that does bother me a lot, like when I was in my youth, probably thought it was cool, is the wrong steering wheel. Small diameter, aggressive steering wheels. That has been irking me. And I say that knowing that I have like a smaller Momo wheel on my 911. Mostly it's out of function, so I can actually physically drive it. But I don't like looking at it. It's
really huge diameter, spindly wooden steering wheel used to be the bane of my existence, and now I love it. I really am having problems. Yeah,
you're just going back to all
prototypos are like thumbs down for me now. Man. I see them and I'm like,
look at the early days of BAT. I was just gonna say, like, I used to recommend like everybody put a prototypo in every car. BMW, Porsche,
All it needs-
Mustang.
Yeah.
All this thing needs to be dialed is a prototypo, and people just started to give me trouble about that. They're rightfully so. It's so great that all of that is permanent online forever. And people point to it and they're like, Randy, what were you talking about? Because stuff comes and goes, right?
Yeah.
Whether for an individual or just like trends overall, right?
Yeah.
Things change. Magnus sells all his outlaw cars. Like
Yes.
ideas change about what's cool,
That's right.
And you kind of evolve and move on.
Is there anything for you, Randy, that you used to think was rad and don't anymore?
Oh, man. I mean, obviously, when we were younger, like crazy race stuff for the street was like a great idea. Like, let me go down to Speed Merchant in San Jose and buy all the Autometer stuff they'll sell me. And then you buy like, okay, I was thumbing through the catalog and there's a street spring and there's a race spring. Clearly I need the race spring.
Correct.
Right? That's the correct purchase because maybe I'll see a racetrack some year, right? So, okay, great. So you put those in and just rattle yourself to death. It's so great, right? So I think I've cooled on some of those ideas. Part of that's just being old, but maybe part of that is being maybe wise, but probably just old.
Here's another one for you. Have your guys' thoughts, and this is true for me again, have your thoughts changed on the DBs from an exhaust? I used to love, so for me it would be big wheels, slam it to the ground, loud exhaust. And now I want to do, in fact, on a couple of my cars, I've undone that to them.
Totally.
They came to me that
Go
way.
around again.
And I was like, I want small wheels and soft suspension and a quiet exhaust. Really what I want is I want it to feel like it did when it was new. I kind of want to experience the car, what it was like when it was new.
Yeah.
But
I'm so pro DBs.
DBs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Straight pipes.
I've not had, none of my cars have really ever been probably as loud as I would want them to be actually, because I've always been so conservative about that and so careful and concerned about it. I just did the exhaust last year on the 911 and I backdated it all and ended up going with a standard Danks muffler. It was just out of fear of like, what if it's too loud and now I have to pay to replace it again? And I was just, I don't know. I get a little nervous with that, but I could always go louder.
I used to love annoying people. Like my boss's 944 semi-track car had it just was the header and no exhaust at all beyond that. And I used to take that to lunch every day and I loved it. It was just straight pipe 944 and I thought it was awesome. And now I cringe so much. I'm thinking GT3 experience that we've had recently, right? Like I just don't want to be that guy that everyone's staring at.
That was extreme though.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm still PTSD on your wheels call, stock wheels. So I'm scrolling the site. So would you the lowest spec 95 993 coupe?
You're trying to think of the worst wheel of all time.
Wheel that they
It's like
offered.
a 16-inch cup.
Yes. And it's horrific. And you'd be like,
I would.
I'm keeping it like that.
But see, here's the thing about that car. That car also came with a 17.
Yes.
So like there is an option, but I actually would be okay with that. I have a buddy, shout out Tony, my first roommate when I moved out. We've been buddies forever. We were just texting today about going to a Dave Matthews show 23 years ago today in North Carolina. Anyway, his take when 996s were new is like 18-inch twists only. Like the 17-inch wheel ruins the car.
Yep.
And he still holds that take. And I'm like, 17s are fine.
You're down with it? You're okay with
18s are better, I will admit. But those are both factory wheels.
Yeah.
So that still fits within my kind of thing. But I would actually be fine with the dinky wheels on a 993.
Oh, man.
Another thing that's evolved for me, Randy, is I don't even like 993s as much as I used to.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, see,
they used to be my favorite.
Still
not
love
anymore.
affair. Still love affair for me.
Okay, I've said all the controversial things. You guys both have places to go. Any parting shots? Any other things that you want to share? We can do more of these later. We only got through 3.
I love it. No, I'm just scrolling the site, looking at wheels on everything.
You're trying to find the car with the worst stock wheel to challenge me
to make sure you would not accept it.
So far, you haven't come up with one. That's a challenge to listeners out there.
Man.
There's an argument for, like in those situations, you bring up the tiny wheels that everyone changes out. At some point, you're the unique person. You're the one that stands out by having those dinky little small wheels.
You know what supports your view? Fuchs on a 356. That's your unhappy place.
Yeah.
But wait, but what wheels did you have on the Ghia?
They were aftermarket. They were 15, so they weren't too big, but they were. This is tricky. So yeah, you can look it up. It's one family owned Karmann Ghia. It was in 2017. It's one of our earliest Ghias.
Family owned. Is that
yeah,
Porter family?
Yeah. My aunt Debbie, shout out. She bought it new at Eliopulos Motors in Ridgecrest, California.
Is that the one that's your license?
I took the
frame?
plate and put it on the
That's
yeah.
awesome.
But my blue plate on that. Did you ever see my blue plate on the car was 237 car? And I only ever had the rear plate. I shouldn't have given it up. It's a 71. Oh, it doesn't have hyphens in it because we didn't.
Oh no, your car had the steel, the 4-leg press steel.
Yes. So those did come on VWs, but mine were off a 914.
Oh really?
And I had them custom widened.
Of course.
So they were staggered. So the front had 185s and the rear had 285s. And we cut the center out of the barrel on the back so that the offset was correct. That car was dialed. That car was great. 237 car.
That was your license plate.
Yeah, that car was great. Yeah. That was a great car. That's the car I maybe missed the most.
So cool.
Of all my daily drivers, other than the
Lot
turbo
number
coupe.
5326.
5326.
2007.
10 grand. So much history in that car. 10.5. Yeah. Nice guy in Canada bought it.
That's awesome.
All right, boys. Well, this is a pleasure as always. Anything we want to tease, Randy? Anything we want to mention? Got a couple events coming up. I think we'll announce them soon. We've got one in Delaware in May that's definitely happening.
That's coming soon.
Yeah, I know, dude. We are almost 1/4 of the way through 2026. We're like only a week away from that. Can you believe it?
Measured by BAT auctions, or do you use the calendar to measure your life, or like lot numbers to measure your
I'm
life?
turning into such a businessman. I use quarters, Q1, Q2, which is gross. Sorry, go ahead, Beck.
No worries. I think a lot of staff members measure life at BAT based off lot numbers.
Yes.
Yeah. We totally do.
Is there any other life, Beck? Is there any other life? Yeah, we're jamming through some lot numbers, aren't we?
Yeah, lot numbers are coming. Big ones are coming up, some milestones. 20 years. So a couple milestones that we got to talk about.
Yeah, super fun doing this with you guys.
Always a pleasure.
Appreciate people listening and contributing to those questions of the week. It's an interesting one to subscribe to and read and try to keep up with. I dare you to try to keep up with it.
So much.
There's so much going on. And honestly, favorite part of my day so far is just going to that category and just scrolling through the lead image for all of them. They just make you laugh and they're engaging and crazy. Our team does a good job.
They do a great job. Well, thanks, gents. And thanks to all of you for listening. As always, feedback can come to podcast@bringatrailer.com. We will catch you next time.